Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heart Healing Conversations with Janna, where we talk about the most difficult moments we go through in life, grief, loss, transition, all those changes that create emotional pain in our hearts. And today, what we want to talk about is anniversaries, because when we go through things in our life that cause us emotional pain, there's an anniversary. Now, we can easily think about this when it comes to the death of someone we love, but it also happens with divorce, when we move, have to sell our house, when we have to get a new job because we lost our job. So, all those dates can come up in our mind, and sometimes we don't remember consciously in our mind, but somehow the cells in our body remember that on this date something happened that created pain for us. And so we kind of want to talk about that today. And so I'm going to kind of let Janna share a little bit of her story and then we'll continue the conversation.
Yeah, this is a really big topic that kind of hits home, especially coming out of, Mother's Day and things. Everybody has certain dates, and I know I've had a couple of clients, Mother's Day is one of the big ones. And so what they felt coming into Mother's Day, and they didn't recognize it necessarily, was just suddenly, I feel off. I don't want to go do anything. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't know what's bothering me. And you really truly have to kind of sit down and pinpoint, okay, well, what are some of the bad things that have happened that you don't want to talk about, and about what time of year did these things happen? And we've tied them back on. I've done this with a couple clients this week, tying it back to, well, you lost your mom about this time, and we're coming into that window of time, not only when you lost her, but now we're going to have Mother's Day where we're supposed to celebrate, and you don't want to celebrate, but you don't know how to tell the world that you don't feel like celebrating.
Mhm.
Personally, I run into that very same thing too, because this is the anniversary of when my stillborn was born. Um, Oftentimes, it's easy to pass over because nobody remembers it. Nobody remembers the date. Nobody remembers the time, but we do. Like I can still remember exact date, time, and everything, but I don't share it with everybody because I know it's not on their mind and they don't want to talk about the negative side of things. Like, oh, well, you should be over that by now. No, I'll never be over it per se. It's always something that's going to be a part of who I am. And it's important to understand that those anniversaries don't have to mean something to anybody else. It's okay to hold that, but it's also okay to hold space and share it with people if they are asking you about, Mother's Day, or like in my instance, my child passing. Well, why aren't you celebrating Mother's Day, or why aren't you happy? What's wrong with you today? It's what, today's just not a good day for me, and that's okay. And a lot of times people I know will try to soften it with, well, yeah, but that was, 7 years ago. Why are you worried about that still today? Well, because to me, it wasn't 7 years ago. It's still very much today.
Mhm.
And I think it's important for people to understand that everybody in this world is going through something right now, one way or another. And so if somebody does seem a little bit, off, like they don't want to be talking, they don't want to be out in public, they don't want to go do all the things they normally do, they're probably going through something on their own, and they don't want to say anything because they don't want to upset you. But this is where you can actually step in and be the, I don't know what you're going through, but I'm here to support you. How can I help you? And oftentimes that will help people open up with even a simple, well, I just realized that it's, the anniversary of when my dog passed away, or, you know, just giving people, again, the time, the space, and knowing that you care about them and what they're going through.
Yeah, I really agree, Janna. And, I'm glad you brought up your experiences with anniversaries. I know I've had many. I mean, the death of my dad, a couple others that come to my mind is after. I got divorced for the first few years, right after my son's birthday, I would feel really depressed, which didn't make a lot of sense to me because I thought, I'm really happy. I mean, my son is growing up, he's a great kid, he's healthy. And so I couldn't figure out what it was. And finally, I realized, well, this is the time of year my divorce was final. And I went into my safe and looked at my divorce papers. And sure enough, it was 2 days after my son's birthday. And so I could finally put an event to why I was feeling that sadness. And so I reminded myself, it's important to be very gentle with me and graceful and realize that that was a really difficult time in my life. And I don't have the same reaction anymore, but for the first few years I did. Same thing went for the last car accident I was in when I was rear-ended and my car was totaled. And then for a couple years afterwards, when that date came around, I mean, it brought up all those memories again. And
Yeah.
thankfully, I've done so much healing work around both of these things and my dad, that it doesn't affect me the same way, but I still remember. It doesn't mean that it necessarily causes pain because it doesn't. And I don't really feel a sadness behind some of those, but it's completely normal for us to experience all kinds of emotions when it's the anniversary of an event that's happened in our life. Um, you know, and I think that we minimize our emotions that come up. Like you said, people say, well, aren't you over that by now? Hasn't enough time passed? And, we talk about all the time. It's not time passing that helps us heal, it's what we do within that time. But I think we need to be gentle with how we navigate those times and, be curious. Oh, yeah, now I realize why today seems so much more difficult for me than yesterday. I remember that, 5 years ago, such and such happened on this day. And give your emotions some space. I mean, to either journal them, get them out on paper, or to talk to a trusted loved one, or somebody, a professional. I think all those things can be very supportive for us on those days because, we all experience anniversaries. Nobody gets out of life without going through painful experiences.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And I know even in my personal experiences too, sometimes events stack up close together, and then it's
Yes.
really hard to recognize exactly which event is setting me off. And so
Mhm.
it really truly is about sitting and doing that reflection and trying to understand what all you have gone through so that you can see those patterns and say, oh, well, mom died, and then Mother's Day hits, and then, oh, my dog died here, and then I lost my job and I had to move. And if all that
Mhm.
stuff compounds together, like that adds so much extra stress and so many other mixed feelings about so many different topics that it
Mhm.
gets completely overwhelming, and we just don't recognize what is causing me to feel this way. And so like you said, actually sitting down and talking to somebody or journaling about it and just seeing those patterns of holy cow, like I've gone through a lot in this time span, and that kind of shows me that I have a reason to be feeling the way that I'm feeling, and that's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like I talked about, we so often minimize what we go
Mm,
through. And it does all accumulate and stack up. It's like that backpack that's getting really full and it's hard to carry anymore, right?
yeah.
Um, and it's just important to be, like we talk about all the time, emotionally honest. And if we can't, or we're not comfortable doing it with someone else, can we just do it with ourselves? You know?
Yeah.
Sit there and, oh, this is a hard day because I'm feeling sad. I'm having regrets, and it's important also, when we're journaling, what do we wish would have been different? What do we wish maybe we would have said, what we could have done? Um, what would we want to, if it's a loved one that's no longer here, what would we want them to know? What would we want to tell them? I mean, those are
Yeah.
sometimes things that we carry as emotional weights in our heart, those hopes, dreams, and expectations that didn't come to fruition, those things that we wish we would have done differently. And so sometimes either verbalizing those to someone that cares about us or writing them can be a really helpful exercise in helping us navigate anniversaries.
Yeah, I know personally, those are usually the ones that I found the hardest um, to vocalize as well as to even recognize, because that's the stuff that nobody talks about is, well, how old would he be today? Would he
Mm-hmm.
be in school? Would he be playing sports? Nobody questions that, but you think about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Same thing with, mom. I've heard a lot of, well, I wish I would have said. Okay, well, say it out loud. They're listening.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I also like to do something kind of in memory of them. Even if it's, hey, mom loved pink flowers and I'm going to go out and I'm going to plant a new flower in the yard.
Mm-hmm.
Great way to memorialize. And I try to tell people that often. Even I have another friend that actually had a stillborn, and every year for their birthday, they let go balloons and everything.
I
So it's
love
just
that.
finding some way for you to continue, but yet keep it memorializing and in your forefront, because it is still very much a part of your life, even
Mm-hmm.
if your close family or friends don't recognize what you're going through. Sometimes if you do something that simple, like, well, we're having, mom's favorite dinner tonight, just saying that kind of sparks a, ooh, today might be something special. What? Oh, think about it. And so being able to do that not only helps your memory, but it helps keep it alive and keep talking about it, because it was such a big part of your life. It's important to continue talking about it. Just pushing it down hides all of those hopes, dreams, expectations, and all those horrible feelings, making you feel like this person didn't matter. And they did. They were a big part of your life.
Yeah,
Or even
absolutely.
events, like you said, with a divorce, that person was still a big part of your life and who you are today. You couldn't have
Mm-hmm.
been the person you are without going through those trials. Um,
Yeah.
so many different things, even our animals on anniversaries, when animals pass and that kind of thing. It gets, it still hits, it still hurts.
Yes, I remember the first couple years after our kitty died. She died at 2022 were really painful. Um, in December because it was kind of right before Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And we have things to memorialize her around the house, and I would just think about, all the really good memories and look at pictures and those kind of things. She's always a part of our hearts. But and the pain isn't there anymore because I've done the work, but that doesn't mean I don't feel sad when I think about her sometimes, like, oh, I wish she was here, or I remember when she liked to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
so, the healing work we do helps with the pain, the deep pain that keeps us stuck and keeps us from moving forward. But that doesn't mean there's not still a little bit of sadness and we miss the loved one. Um,
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other events, like divorce. And I think I've been able to get to the point where I see things as a gift that have happened in my life. The painful things have become a gift because I've been able to heal and I've been able to then use that healing to help other people. But we need to be able to look at all those things and be honest about our emotions. Pushing them down, whether it's related to an anniversary or just, walking through daily life, pushing down our emotions doesn't help us heal and doesn't help us grow. It ends up keeping us stuck and often using
Mm-hmm.
destructive, unhealthy coping mechanisms. One of the things that you had brought up is talking about regret and how important it is to tell people how we feel about them, never leaving anything unsaid. Now, I know even in my life that is not
Mhm.
100% realistic, right? But we do the best that we can because we aren't promised another day. We aren't even promised another hour. So, what would we want people to know? Staying current in our relationships as much as we possibly can so that we don't have those regrets. So we don't look back and say, I really wish I would have told this person how much they meant to me before they left this earth.
Yeah, that really honestly gives you kind of a whole different feel and sense of how you should live, how you should want to live every day, kind of more in that moment and in that space where, if something happened, you don't have a bunch of those unsaid things, whether hurtful or good, that you can feel like, I know that, mom and dad know that I love them and they are happy wherever they go, whatever happens. Same thing with a pet or in any situation, even, your children. Oh, I know that they know that I love them. So if anything happens, sure, I know they're going to be sad, but they know how I feel.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that that is so important. And I know for many people, it's hard to be honest about how we
Yes.
feel because we haven't been taught to do that in our childhood, right? Maybe we never saw our parents express their love towards each other, say, I love you. And so it's not comfortable for us. And I think
Mhm.
there's other ways that we can tell people how important they are to us.
Absolutely.
But it's imperative that we do it because I see so many people, I work with them all the time that have just these huge regrets on their heart because they wish they would have said something. They wish they would have cleared the air. They wish they would have said, I love you. You've made such a difference in my life. And when we have to live with those things, it's just, it's very painful to get through that. And it's hard to forgive ourselves.
Yeah, I think we've talked a little bit about that trusting our own intuition. And I think when you
Mhm.
get one of those feelings that says, hey, I should reach out and talk to so and so and see how they're doing, or you know what, I haven't talked to mom, I'll give her a call. When you have that feeling, that's kind of that little nudge that, hey, even though you might be too busy, take that 5 minutes and send a quick text and say, hey, just thinking about you. Because sometimes that can completely change the trajectory of somebody else's day,
Mhm.
especially if they're in a bad spot. But just giving them that little reminder that somebody else is thinking of them feels good. I mean, it's amazing to get just like I said, even a text of, hey, I just thought about you and wanted to say hi and see how you were doing. It's something so simple, but yet I think sometimes we just pass it off like, I don't have time for this. I think it's important to get back to that stage where when we have that intuitive, like, I should say, or I should do, you know what, just do it. Take the extra 5 minutes.
I would agree. I feel like the more we get into technology in this world, kind of the less we're reaching out to people, which is,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't even make sense, right? It's so easy.
Right.
We have our phones all the time. Let's just send a quick text. And it does feel good
Mm-hmm.
to hear from someone and to know they're thinking of you. But, I can go days and I won't hear from anyone unless I reach out.
Yeah.
I mean, people get busy. We all have so many things that we're navigating in our life, but it does warm my heart whenever I hear from someone that I just came across their mind. And,
Mm-hmm.
especially right now in life, a lot of people feel lonely. And I think it's important that we let people know that they're not alone and that they're cared about and that there's
Mm-hmm.
support around them, whether it's an anniversary coming up or, they're having a hard time related to something that's going on presently in their life, or, we just want them to feel loved.
Yeah. Kind of makes me miss the earlier days in technology where we had like the email chains where you just forward a mass amount of emails of jokes and that kind of stuff. We took it for granted at that point, and oh boy, I just got a whole bunch of emails from so and so. It's a bunch of jokes being forwarded. But today, you don't even see that kind of connection anymore with the social media stuff. It's kind of crazy.
No, you really don't. Now, I appreciate the people that post on social media happy things,
Yes.
inspiring things, because there's a lot of the opposite on there, about things going on in the world. And, we need to know what's going on, but we also need to remember that we can't live in complete darkness. Like we need to bring in the light to feel the hope.
Yeah, and a lot of times with all the stuff going on in the world, it sure does feel pretty lonely, scary, and out of control, I guess is a great way to put it. And so having a few people in your little bubble to help send a text saying, "Hey, how's it going?"
Mhm.
can be an amazing thing. I would encourage everyone, if you have a chance today, just send two inspiring messages to two random people and see how it changes not only how you feel, but how they
Mhm.
are responding today.
Oh, I would agree. And I was just recording a video actually yesterday because I was thinking about pay it forward. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's really important because all of us, everybody can think about a time when someone helped them or did something nice for them. And when I used to work at a clinic in my hometown as a nurse, I oftentimes would go to Starbucks and I'd go through the drive-through and I'll remember like twice when I would get up to the little counter to pay and they'd be like, "Oh, the person in front of you paid." And I'm like, "What?" Like it always is a huge surprise and it feels good. And then what happens? Oh, I pay it forward and I pay for the person behind me. I mean, I just think when we can do nice things for people, it goes a long ways. Introducing someone to someone else that we know might be helpful for them in their business. Um,
Yeah.
because it can be a lonely world and it can feel like we're just out there treading water without any support, even though we have a family and everything like that. That doesn't mean we don't feel lonely inside. And so I think finding ways to pay it forward, doing things for other people, it doesn't have to be anything that costs money. It can be like today I was talking to a woman. I'm like, "Hey, I know the perfect podcast for you to be on. I'm going to connect you with somebody else." I mean, just little things like that people aren't expecting. I think they can go a long ways to just help people feel connected.
Yeah. One of our favorite things is the kids like to do the painted rocks, and then we just put
Hmm.
painted rocks out randomly wherever we are in places, or little like toy statues or anything, just so that when people are out walking and seeing things, they see some random little "have a nice day" or "be the light" or whatever the words of wisdom are. And it's just fun.
I love that idea. I know there's been times where I've had those little teeny cards, the inspirational cards that you like open up that I've
Yep,
put in different places that I go, and you never know who picks them up. But I
exactly.
truly believe that whoever's meant to find them, whoever needs that message is going to and
Yep.
find it. And so I just
Yeah.
think those kind of things just create a little bit more magic in our world today. And helps people feel connected and loved and supported and not alone. And that's what we all need right now.
Yeah, give us more ideas. Comment in our notes section below and let us know what is one of your favorite ways to pay it forward or to put a little sunshine in somebody's day. I'd be interested to find new ways to kind of pass on.
Yeah, that's a great idea. People, please do that because then maybe we'll just come up with a whole sheet of ideas of,
Yeah,
how we can just spread some more love in the world. I mean, I know people who have like hug campaigns where they just go out in public and hug people and just anything to put more light in the world. Let's just have that mission today, this week, this month. So, all right, with that, friends, thank you for another great conversation. Like Janna said, please comment below. Please subscribe. We're trying to grow our channel and share with your loved ones. And have a wonderful week. Take care.
thanks everyone.